Hi, I'm Adam Lewis with DeerIQ.com and the DeerIQ podcast. And in this video, we're going to look at trail cam psychology, or the thinking around how you use trail cameras to best give you intel you need. Now, there's also some things we need to avoid, but we're going to look at some reasons or the thought process of it that you really need to think through, and then start looking at the where of the placement of trail cameras. Now, I do a lot of hunting on public land. I'm here in Michigan, also a little bit of private land, so this should apply to both. But I'm looking at, again, summer scouting, so I can best use those toward the beginning of season. Let's take a look. So the first thing I want to do with my trail cameras, and this is once I've determined for this particular year the best place to put them, and I'll link below a previous video I did about that. There's a step before I start throwing cameras out there. But once I've really honed in on the positions for those and locations for those this year, the first thing I want to do in the summer is I'm going to try to position them to find a handful of shooters. And I put 3 or 4 up there, bucks that I would want to shoot. The more the better, right? But at least I'd say 3 or 4 if you can, because I am looking for that first week, really the first few days, to get a quick strike on those deer while they're still kind of on summer patterns. That is the first window and one of the best days to take a good buck. So once I've identified a few of these shooters, and I'm going to try to figure out when I can actually shoot them. Some might not be right off the bat. They might disappear, and so those I might have to put on the back burner for a while and see if they reappear, or I can refine them. We also have mobile bucks and sedentary bucks from Collar Buck Studies we know about, that some will just leave and go to a different home range, right? And so I'm trying to figure those things out right off the bat. Once I've maybe identified a handful of bucks, which ones can I target week one? Which ones are showing me things that make them easy to target, potentially shoot those first few days, really? I'm gonna start focusing on that. Okay, so the third thing I'm thinking about, the psychology of where I'm placing these and what I'm trying to get out of them, right, is figuring out routes. This is a two-parter. This is his routes. How is he coming and going from wherever he is going, probably food, and then what are my routes into how I can get in and out of somewhere to actually hunt him. And you got to think summertime, a lot of times in the Midwest, there's a lot of other deer coming and going from these crop fields, things like that. Maybe it's acorns too, depending. But there's a lot of deer involved that you could also bump and things like that. And those are gonna tip off the deer you're actually trying to hunt, right? So you gotta be really thoughtful about that and really careful about that. And I'm trying to figure out those two things. I'm also trying to figure out the when of I can actually hunt this deer. Is it morning? Is it evening? What are the conditions gonna be involved? So I'm trying to put all those pieces together. That's the psychology of how and where I throw up these trail cameras. I'm not just putting them out somewhere. I really want to think through those things. So, do you like this episode so far? If you do, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our other great high IQ videos. And I invite you to check out our podcast, which is on this channel, also wherever you listen, and invite a friend. That's really going to help the podcast and channel grow, and it's greatly appreciated. And also, do you know your deer IQ? Do you think your deer's smart? Why don't you take our Deer IQ test and find out? It's fun and easy, and you can share it with a buddy and see how you do compared to them. That's also linked below. And also we have some services to really help you take it to the next level as a hunter and see success right where you hunt. And so those are down below too. You can check those out. Okay, so now let's talk about the psychology of where I want to put those. And I could put them on edges or deep, that's kind of, or somewhere in between, I guess. But I personally am looking at what's least intrusive that will allow me to gather this intel that I want to find without tipping my hand. And that's huge. I can't tip my hand and let deer know that they're being hunted. And so I'm going to focus on edges where I can get in and check that without making any intrusion whatsoever. Not even get out of my vehicle if possible, or really low impact checks of these trail cameras. So where can I put cameras where I can easily check them and figure out this intel, get this information without letting them know I'm even there. That's where I want to put them. Okay, another psychology of the where is I want to try to amplify the data I'm collecting and double dip. So for example, I should put these where I'm able to see multiple trails, like look at funnels and things. So I'm getting the most out of my snapshot. Because remember, you're only getting a small picture with trail cameras. So I'm trying to find multiple trails coming together to funnel them down to magnify the use of my trail camera. Another thing to think about is also gathering intel about other hunters. And especially if you're public land hunters, you know, trail cameras, I've had them stolen, I've had SD cards stolen, that's part of the game. I try to avoid that, but also you're looking at trying to figure out other hunters too. And so if you can get a hunter on a trail camera and start putting those pieces together, you know, maybe you should just avoid that spot. So putting them up to get multiple sets of intel are magnifying and amplifying your ability to gather this intel. Okay, what are your thoughts about the psychology of trail camera placement? Put your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next Deer IQ High IQ Topics video.